Lai Ching-te was declared on Saturday as the winner in the Taiwan presidential election. He succeeds Tsai Ing-wen, his senior at the Democratic Progressive Party (DPP). To know more about the background of his presidential election victory in Taiwan and his political platforms and policies, we will talk with VOA correspondent Elizabeth Lee. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us today. Can you explain about China's response to the Taiwan election result?
Yes, we have some breaking news. Is perhaps it's the first response that it's happening now is that the Pacific Island nation of Nauru has announced that it's switching diplomatic ties from Taiwan to China. And today that news came, and then immediately Taiwan say it will sever its diplomatic ties with Nauru. And Taiwan says that it's unfortunate that this is happening. But this is seen as perhaps the first response because China has been trying to approach the Pacific Island nation, enticing it with financial incentives to switch recognition. The DPP candidate and now President-elect Lai Ching-te, that is not a party that China prefers. China prefers the more China-friendly KMT party, the opposition party. So other possible outcomes and results from China, experts say, could be more military drills and also possible economic sanctions. But everyone's just kind of watching and waiting to see what China's next step is.
And over there, what had made Lai Ching-te the winner in Taiwan presidential election?
We spoke to many voters even before the elections. Those who support Lai Ching-te says that they pretty much liked the current president, Tsai Ing-wen's policies towards the international community. They like the fact that Tsai Ing-wen put Taiwan on the map. She really pushed hard to try to establish close ties with like-minded nations, with democracies, with the U.S. And so they like that direction that China is going. And so they hope and expect Lai Ching-te will also continue President Tsai Ing-wen's policies on the world stage.
Now, in view of his election campaign promises and his party's platforms, what do you think of his government's priority programs? Is it inward-looking or outward-looking?
Both, and this is what I mean by that. First, inward-looking, the DPP lost control of the legislature in this election. Also, President-elect Lai got only 40% of the vote. So even though he won, there's still quite a large percentage of the population who did not vote for him. And China is saying that his election, his win, does not reflect public opinion. So there are people who still strongly support the KMT, the main opposition party. And then there's a third party, younger people who are kind of disenchanted and frustrated with both existing parties, think that a third party might be better. And so Lai Ching-te has to really try to build consensus within the legislature for anything to happen, for the country to move forward and not be in a gridlock. So that's the first thing. Secondly, outwardly, of course, there's a big China issue that Taiwan will continuing to have to be dealing with. And so he said to reporters on the day, election day, after it was announced that he won, that he really wants to reach out to China. And instead of confrontation, he would like more dialogue with Beijing, and he would like to have more exchanges with Beijing. And he wants to be a president of keeping peace and stability in this region. So now the ball is in Beijing's court to see how it will respond to that message.
All right, so Lai Ching-te, as you say, it has promised during his election campaign that he will be softer against China than his predecessor, Tsai Ing-wen. How do Taiwanese see his choice of political strategy? And how will China respond to this political gesture? Or maybe similarly, how will the United States respond to his stance?
So the United States, as well as all the various countries, like-minded allies, so to speak, from Japan to the EU to the UK, as well as the US, they all congratulated Lai Ching-te on his win. Also, they were all saying that this is a democratic process at work. And all these messages to the president China did not respond very well to that. China says Taiwan is a part of China that has always been and always will be. And of course, even before the election, Chinese leader Xi Jinping has been talking about the inevitability of reunification. So this will continue to play out, and really over the next few days, weeks, and months, we'll see kind of how Beijing will respond. And this triangle between the U.S., Beijing, and China will really be key to the stability of this region. And this region is significant because why do we care? Why did so many members of the media from around the world converge on Taipei during the election? That's because of two critical things. First, the Taiwan Strait is key to maritime commerce. And secondly, Taiwan has the most advanced microchip making, semiconductor chip making plants here, factories, and technology here. So for that reason, of course, semiconductor chips are used in everything from cell phones and computers to refrigerators, so and even cars these days. So and that's really key to the world we live in now. So that's why the world is watching to see kind of how this plays out between China, U.S., and Taiwan.
Yes, certainly the world will to what comes next from Taiwan. So once again, Elizabeth Lee, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.